Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, good morning. Welcome everybody to this session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus meetings. First of all, you should know that we are recording this session. That means that if you stay with us, you are accepting that we will record it and share it later on our own channels of the European Cluster Alliance and the channels of the ECCP. Sorry, because there are some noise from somebody. Please, if you are not speaking, mute yourself, okay? That will help us to have a better session. Okay, checking who will be. Okay, so today is a very special day because we are linking our initiative with another very powerful network across Europe, the Enterprise European Network. And there are some news not officially known yet, okay, but there are some news about one reorganization of some services in the DigiGrow. And I think that's very good to know that Ulla Engelmann, who is until now head of unit in the unit of social economy and clusters, will take care also of this area of the industrial forum, alliance, clusters, European Enterprise Network, and others. So that means that it makes sense before, but now more than ever to strengthen our linkages. Okay, this is not new. We have in fact some stable linkages between us, with the best example on the cluster group on the EN, where we have Daniel Kosnita as the ambassador, as the person in our steering committee, the steering committee of the board of directors of the European Cluster Alliance, and both at the same time in that group. So today, Daniel will be the facilitator, the moderator of the session, and I will give you from now on the floor. And Daniel, the session is yours.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Good morning, everybody, to this session where we try to start a debate about the cooperation between clusters and the Enterprise Europe Network.
I lose Daniel. Daniel,
deals with the internationalization of SME. So support for the internationalization of SME in terms of commercial business, in terms of technology transfer and innovation, and in terms of participation to the framework research framework program, international cooperation in RDI. Well, and this network has been working since more than 10 years now in this format as Enterprise Europe Network. But before that, so almost 20 years that this initiative of the European Commission has been going on. And of course, at one point, it came as a natural development that clusters have been taken into consideration by the network, because of course clusters are one very important tool to reach innovative SMEs, because by definition SMEs that are members of clusters are innovative and are more open to internationalization. So inside the Enterprise Europe Network, around more than 5 years ago, 7 years ago, a thematic group was created, the thematic group clusters, which accounts now for more than 120 regional contact points which deal with the cooperation between the Enterprise Europe Network and the clusters in the regions. And of course, in the times of the pandemic, starting last year, of course, the Enterprise Europe Network, as did the European Cluster Alliance, started to prepare some response to the pandemic, and several developments have been taken place. And now, in order to continue, so we will have in this session we will have two presentations. One about the TG clusters and what this thematic group inside the network is doing, and also one example of a successful cooperation between the Enterprise Europe Network and one cluster. An example coming for Spain, from Spain. So it is a pleasure for me to introduce to you first Susanne Baden-Jorgensen from the Food and Bio Cluster Denmark, which is also the chairwoman of the thematic group clusters. And I would also like to welcome Roberto Moran, which is the RDI manager of the Asincar cluster in Spain. So first of course, we are glad to hear you, as you are accustomed in our morning session, to hear your comments, your thoughts, your questions, to debate in this 1 hour session about the way that we can enhance the cooperation between the European Cluster Alliance and the Enterprise Europe Network in the future. So first of all, I would like to ask Susanne, from the chairwoman of our thematic group, to give us an input on what the thematic group is doing and what are the activities, with the focus, of course, on the things that we have done in times of the COVID crisis. Susanne, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. It says here, could you please share the screen? Yeah. Share. Okay, can you see? And then I need to go into presentation mode, which is a little bit difficult because it's blocking. Well, anyway, Antonio, thank you so much for inviting us to present the Enterprise Europe Network, the thematic group for clusters. We have been noting that you, by weekly webinars, have been an inspiration to everybody, both clusters, to advisors, and many other also in the Commission. So we are very pleased to see if we can enhance our cooperation. I just need to share the screen. How? Okay. So is it better now? Can you see the full screen now?
Now it's
Hello,
perfect,
Susanne. Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
here we go. Business support for companies, but most of all for clusters. And I would like to give you a very brief introduction to Enterprise Europe Network. I know Daniel gave you a very brief. As you know, it's an initiative by the EU Commission to help SMEs especially, but also for clusters. We like to say that thematic group for clusters, you will see this TG, it means thematic group for clusters, is your gateway to international clusters, other contacts, and also for our cluster services. But as just briefly said, I'll give you a super brief introduction to what the network is all about. It is actually the world's largest support network for SMEs with international business and ambitions. What do we do? Well, we help companies innovate and grow internationally. We offer international partnerships that can be straight commercial, and it can be sub-suppliers, it can be many things, as long as it's to establish international collaboration. Then another pillar is advisory support, and that could be market information, advice on EU laws, and all these EU regulations and so on. Innovation support can be, how can I innovate my company? I need some funding. It can be advice on innovation funding. It can also be innovation management support. So there's a sort of 3 pillars that we grow on. And for these services, we have, as I said, international partnership. We have a database. We have brokerage events. Now that we are all digital, all events are virtual at the moment, and company missions when we can travel. Hopefully we can meet each other again at our cities, countries, and so on, maybe also trade fairs. I know a few are experimenting doing this virtual. Yesterday, I actually participated in a virtual trade fair. That was a first-time experience, and you know, you have to innovate and be creative these days. Advisory support, I mentioned that early, and innovation support also. So this is sort of all over what we do. And who are we? We are located in more than 600 partner offices in more than 60 countries worldwide. So it's only not the EU, it's also beyond EU. And at the moment, I think we are more than 3,000 local experts that can help. So basically, we're based in your country, but we're connected to the world. And this is just to show you some of the local partners from all over Europe. And I don't think there's one beyond Europe. But anyway, just to give you an example that behind this, there also a local unity or partner, as to speak. For my sake, it's Food and Biocluster Denmark. And we are partner in this, and also for there's Paris region, there's Berlin partner, and so on. Anyway, let's get to the point now. We have in the network a number of experts that are pooling together in groups. We have sector groups, as you can see here, but also the thematic groups. And we would like to know that we are the stars for the clusters. So thematic group for clusters is your gateway to the international cluster and cluster services. And in our group, we are about 60 members. We are in the core group, sort of the steering group. We are 20 who are carrying out most of the activities. And then we have a small executive team, 5 persons, and including the chair. So our mission is to deliver highly specialized quality services to clusters with also international ambitions in order, again, to generate cross-cultural and international cooperation. Is somebody on the line, or you have a question? Okay, all right. Our aim is also to act as another network of cluster experts. So our colleagues may also ask us if that we know other clusters in other countries and what is the situation and so on. And we also help the EASMA, who is our unit in the Commission, the management in the Commission for Enterprise Europe Network, with the flow of information. So what are our objectives? We, again, help clusters to serve them the best way with specialized services. We have collected best practices. We collaborate on cluster missions. We train our local, our internal colleagues. We conduct workshops, seminars for cluster members and other clusters. And as I said, we also give feedback to the EASMA. Of all our cluster services, I would we sort of top the 3 best services, and I think this can be of interest to many of you, because quite often you are a smaller secretariat and you need support to organize all these things, and we can get information quickly. So the matchmaking events, I know from my own cluster and from my previous jobs, they're quite popular, because in a very constructive way and very efficient, you can match clusters with clusters, and you can meet in a structured way, usually at a trade fair or at a conference. We organize this. So this could be that, okay, you have your annual meeting, or together with a conference, you take contact to your local cluster, local Enterprise Europe Network office, and then together you organize this matchmaking event. And you have partnerships across Europe or beyond as a result of these matchmaking events. Cluster mission could also be that you know that, for instance, in Spain, they know a lot about certain technology, and your cluster would like to learn more about this, so we can organize together a mission. So we cooperate and do all the hard work for you, and you nurture your members and make sure that they are invited and that they take part of this mission to learn more about what is going on in other countries. Partner search is also very popular because there's a number of EU calls that you will have to have international partners, and many you have to have at least 3. So where do you find them? We can help in our group to identify potential partners, and we can match you in this way. So these are, by experience, our top 3 services, and the only thing you have to do is to take care that you contact the local Enterprise Europe network and come to an agreement with how you can collaborate on these services. But this is not the end, so to speak. There are a number of other services, but these are the top we have noted. So what have we done also? Because we all know COVID-19 will stay with us for a long time, unfortunately. Actually, today in Denmark is the annual, if you can say that, it's the first time that last year we locked down Denmark, so to speak, and there was a first lockdown, and well, I think we were all in shock. I was on my way from an Enterprise Europe network meeting in Hamburg, and on the way I just crossed the border, and Denmark was locked down. So what can you do? You have to be creative, and it showed by these webinars that we mobilized a lot of companies to think creative. So the new words were resilience, sustainability, digitalization, innovation, and a number of virtual events were seeing the first light, and everybody, as what you can see, you have them twice a week, got very quickly used to that everything was on the screen. You met on the Teams or GoToMeeting or Zoom. So we also had a few webinars, and we will like to collaborate with you to in the future also to see that we target clusters, as they are the gateway to SMEs. We have a monthly newsletter that we bring news and small and big news and everything that has to do with clusters and what's going on in the world. We initiative collaboration with you. Hopefully this will be the first time you also presented your organization at our annual meeting last year, and it was a very fruitful meeting. So hopefully this will be the first in many. You may also know a European Cluster Collaboration Platform. This is the ECCP. They have a new team, and they start working on the website. They also introduce webinars, and we also don't have to, but we would also like to collaborate with them. We collect best practice. We have a small catalog that EN working with clusters. How can we do this in the best possible way? And this we have for inspiration to our other colleagues. And in that sense, we also prepared guidelines on how to collaborate with clusters. It's a little bit different than working with SMEs. And again, we disseminate, of course, information on the relevant cluster topics. other stakeholders as our sector groups, EDU products, and wherever we can see the possibilities for a win-win situation, we can collaborate. And last but not least, the cluster mission and cluster-to-cluster matchmaking is also some of our activities. And this is my keynote, not keynote, but my note to the Spanish cluster that has benefit a lot from our services. And I think instead of I would go on and say, we have done this and that, it's better to hear from a cluster so you can be inspired on how we can collaborate, how the EN can help you, and how we can work together. And by this, I would like to say thank you for the attention. We have a LinkedIn group. I have to be honest and say that we are not so active, but maybe if you look and you post things, you are more than welcome. You can just ask for joining the group and I will let you in. It's called Cluster Group of the Enterprise Europe Network. And as you can see, I'm also from a cluster, Food and Bio Cluster Denmark. We are a fairly new cluster, though we are a few merging of 4 Danish clusters because the Danish government last year said we will only have 14 major clusters in our key sectors. So we are now the main and the only national food or cluster within the food and the bioresource. That's biomass and biogas. It's not organic. Unfortunately, the name could be in German when you say bio, it's organic, so to speak. Anyway, I would love to tell you more about food and bio cluster another time. I know from previous session that the life and design cluster have been here from Denmark, and yes, thank you so much. And I think I would give the word back to Daniel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susanne, for the presentation. Are there any questions for Susanne?
Daniel, if you allow me, I need to say thank you to Susanne, and I was very happy to share your annual conference with you past year. I am sure that we have a very important future to share. And so I'm glad for the initiative to include some kind of session with the EN, if possible, monthly here in the European Alliance Against Coronavirus. And for sure, you will be invited to share your experience from your cluster soon also with us. So thank you very much.
Super, thank you, Antonio.
Yes, so if there are any questions for Susanne,
yes, I have a question to Susanne. Susanne, thank you very much for your excellent presentation. How is the role of the enterprise network in helping the European SMEs to touch and have more strong cooperation with SMEs from other areas like the US, like Africa, like Asia? So do you have a specific international background trying to give the SMEs more capacity to have international links also?
Yes, we do have collaboration. We have EN, Enterprise Europe Network partners in US. We have it in Canada. Canada is coming up strong, just to say that Canada can be a stepping stone to this market. In Asia, we have a number of, especially in China, a number of Enterprise Europe Network partners. And now that we can't travel, but beforehand there were a number of missions where we collaborated. It could be with clusters to go in a group, to go like we call it cluster mission, or you know, as a it could be a promotion with looking for suppliers. It could be looking for collaboration partners. It could be technology partners or research and development, but also for EU products, projects. And my cluster, we are just won a new cluster Go International, where we will be working with Asia in many countries, together with some European countries. Africa, we have in some African countries Enterprise Europe network. It needs to be strengthened. Well, at the moment, I wouldn't say everything is at a standstill, but it's moving slowly. But there are possibilities, of course. So we would be happy to at least to guide you in the right direction. So yes, is that enough, or would you like to know more?
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Daniel, I don't know if you will take over the control again, because I only see my own. I only see.
Any more questions?
Daniel, maybe I could say something. This is Douglas Thompson representing the ECCP.
Thank you. All right. Douglas, how are you?
I'm very well. I just wanted to thank you, Suzanne, for the presentation. I thought it was excellent, and just, of course, reiterate our side from the ECCP as well. The great willingness to cooperate, especially, for instance, in regard to what perhaps was the last question in terms of developing matchmaking events with third countries, especially now as we hope we move into a world in which we can travel a little more. So thank you very much for identifying the possible collaborations.
Yes, Douglas, I'm looking forward to moving further with our note and memo for collaboration. So I'm sure we can. And I'm sorry, Japan and Korea. I just got a note here saying, Olaf, thank you so much for making. I know Singapore is also a very active partner. Sorry, I could go on talking. So sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you for this presentation, for the general presentation. As you have seen, there are several initiatives that the DG clusters inside the Enterprise Europe network is doing in order to strengthen the cooperation with the SMEs and the support of the network through the SMEs, which are the final beneficiaries, by using the clusters as a platform for international cooperation between SMEs, and as a very good and efficient way to reach the SMEs which bear the highest potential for innovation and for international cooperation. And this being said, now let's take one concrete example. And we have the pleasure to have Roberto Moran from the ASINCAR cluster. So from among the very many clusters, how did we come for this first session to Roberto? Also last year, inside our group, in response to the coronavirus, we started an internal discussion, being inspired, of course, by the European Clusters Alliance and by the morning sessions. And we have done also this kind of session to see how we can respond to the coronavirus. And the main aim was to exchange experience, how the clusters deal with this. We liked very much the approach of ASINCAR, which is a very well, let's say, integrated approach, because it has also, it's a cluster, it's a technology transfer center, they have research facilities, so they had a very quick response to the crisis. But also this is a very good model to be discussed overall. And of course, this was also documented, and because we have also now we have we have seen here that we have the European Cluster Alliance, we have the Enterprise Europe Network, we have the CCP here present, that this experience was also fed in as an input to the forum that was moderated by the European Cluster Alliance against coronavirus last in the hot spring month of last year. And this was provided as an inspiration in the forum, which was hosted by the CCP fight against coronavirus and moderated by our alliance. So I have talked too much. Now let's go to Roberto. And Roberto, please, the floor is yours. When we look forward to an exciting presentation about your cluster, your approach, and the cooperation with the Enterprise Europe Network.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniel. I will try to share my screen. Just give me a second, okay? Not so familiar with GoToMeeting. Just, I think that now I am sharing in presentation mode. Yeah, let me know. Do you see the presentation?
Only
yes,
small.
But you yeah.
Yes, but we see 2 slides, Roberto.
Hi, Roberto. When you go to configuración de visualización, at the top you can change to the full screen presentation mode. So in the second menu tab that you see on the screen.
Not really. So can you repeat?
Yeah, click on configuración de visualización.
En el menú superior. Arriba.
Okay, so
la segunda opción.
Some of them.
Arriba en medio, Roberto.
Okay, so I have here. Okay. I think now will be better. Now it's okay.
Perfect.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you. Now I am sorry because I have the 2 screens, okay, and normally I share one of the screens. Okay, so sorry for this technical issue. Okay, so thank you very much. So here Roberto Moran from Asincar cluster speaking. So I am a European project manager in Asincar, and first of all I want to thank the organizer of this session. So European Cluster Alliance, the European Enterprise Cluster Thematic Group, for inviting us for giving this testimonial, and special thanks also to our one of our regional European Enterprise Network contact point, that is Clara from IDEPA. Okay, and really thank you for the kind words that you provide about our cluster during the presentation. So just to start, okay, so we are located on the northwest of Spain in a small region named Asturias. Our main touristic marketing motto for the region is that so Asturias is the natural and green paradise. I think that with the 2 pictures that we have here about the sea and the mountain landscape, that we combine perfectly in our territory, as well as jointly with the delicious gastronomy that you can enjoy on our region. You will be able to easily, okay, reach why we are meaning as the natural and green paradise. Okay, so I just invite you to visit us as soon as we are able to travel again, okay, and to cross regional and country borders. So what is Asincar? So Asincar is a food business cluster, and as a cluster, it catalyzed business and technological opportunities to our members, and we are also a facilitator, for example, for the building of these new value chains that came as a confluence between the food sector in our case and key-enabled technologies like digital, like green. So we are facilitating the transformation of our factories to the future industry, supporting with our services. Within our cluster, we have also, as already commented, a relevant technological platform. So we have technical people, we have own technological capabilities for giving support to the food SMEs on their challenges and their demands. And our origin was practically 45 years ago. So we started as we born as a joint venture, a joint effort between several meat processing industries around our headquarters, and we still keep this role of protection and legal advice for the regional meat industry. So to provide you a rapid visualization of the profile of our cluster members, you can see here that we cover the whole value chain. During the last years, we are also involving as collaborator partners, tech partners, for the need that I just remarked. Okay, so there is a need for this collaboration between tech partners and the end users, the food actors, for advancing to this digital, resilient, and more sustainable industry. We have currently 92 cluster members. The majority are SMEs. And to provide you with some features that highlight our cluster members, we will say that majority of them, they use artisanal process, manufacturing process. They produce high quality added value products. That means that they have quality levels or some kind of singularity in the production process, or in the raw levels, in the raw material, sorry, or on the final products. They have small to medium scale production, and they have flexibility and adaptability to go global. So, and today we came here to express our testimonial about the use and really the good performance with the European Enterprise Network services. So our regional contact points belong to a bigger node network that cluster group different nearby regions in the northwest Spain. So apart from Asturias, we have Galicia, Castilla, León, and Cantabria. As I commented, we have IDEPA as one of the regional contact points, but we have also another two organizations, FAD and FICIT, that complement really well their competences for providing support to business support organizations like us or and to SMEs. So in this scheme figure, I try to show how the use of these services impact in a positively to the ASINCAR ecosystem. Okay, so we represent the ASINCAR ecosystem with this line of points. We have distributed these services that we use most, that we are more familiar with. And I am happy to see that Susan, that I know from previous activities, already remarked that or we would say that these four services are on the top 3 cluster services provided by the network. So I will, in the next slide, I will detail a little bit more how we get value from these services. So as you know, European Enterprise Network have different mailing lists for different purposes, okay? Here I will result the ones that we use more. So for example, for partner search, in the case of research and development projects, there is also this mailing list for sharing business or tech offer or and demands, and also relevant information about events that could be of interest to your organization or to your cluster members. And why ASINCAR get value from these mailing lists? So, for example, if we focus on the research and development projects for the searching of partners, of collaborators, really we have, based on our experience, through this partner search tool, we have find more mature project ideas and more professional partners that using other sources. Okay, this doesn't mean that these other sources are not of some value, okay? But for example, currently I am not so really active, okay, on searching partners on LinkedIn group, but in the past, probably because I was not so so experienced on these matters, I devoted some of my efforts to use these LinkedIn groups, and really, so after some experiences, I will say that we got ideas that were not really mature, that was in a really infant state, so not really of value for us, okay? So, and I think that how this maturity is built, I think that there is a strong impact that comes from the intermediation and the follow-up made by the regional contact point, okay? So if you send a partner search through this network, or if you express an interest for some opportunity, you always will get some feedback, okay? Normally from the company that is submitting the offer, or at least from the regional contact point in destination, okay, about some feedback about your the partner search of the expression of interest, okay? Another way that we use also, we digest all this information from the mailing list, and we select the ones that is more suitable for our food and tech cluster members, and we compile them on periodical newsletters, okay? Like here, I just have 2 examples. Also, as commented, okay, EN supported a lot of networking, matchmaking events. So the ones that we use more are these regional info days about research and development funding opportunities, and also the different matchmaking and brokerage events that could have a different nature and different formats, okay? For example, during the last years in the big food fairs like Anuga, Alimentaria, or Biofac, there is always a place for this kind of matchmaking formats. And this is really useful for us in CAR due to different reasons. We are able to keep an update about the different research and development funding opportunities, and normally also within these regional or national info days, we are able to interact individually with the national contact points, okay? So you are able to get their really relevant and expert feedback about your project idea. Also, of course, you are able to get new collaborators and business partners. So if we look, for example, from the angle of getting funding for your research and development activities, it's really interesting for identifying big players on the EU arena, okay? And also for visualizing the capacities or the competencies, okay? And I think that this is really relevant for, I will say, small organization, for example, like Asincar, okay? So we are currently 28 people on the staff. So basically this means, okay, that in Brussels, you are not much visualized, okay, if you don't make efforts on this line. But during the last 5 years, we really make a good dedication on the participation and the follow-up of these kind of activities. And we were able to identify, we will say, these big players, and some of them are already considering Asincar for their future activities, okay? So I really recommend this point. Also, there could be some co-financing of the activities. I want to stress that this is at regional level, so it happens, for example, in our region, but this is not directly. So the support, economical support, not come directly from the EEN, okay? Just to have you in your mind. And also, if you want to co-organize in your region some relevant internationalization event, it's really interesting to be co-organized, to be supported by the EEN. And here I have an example that, as you see, came just before the lockdown, okay? There are 2 activities, a study visit and a matchmaking related to the digitalization of the food industry. So some pictures, okay? Here, pictures about our participation as a cluster on C2C matchmaking, so cluster to cluster matchmakings, okay? So there These are the ones that are fostered, as commented by Susan before, by the cluster technical group. And here also some pictures and some numbers, okay, about the about activities, regional activities that we organize jointly with our regional European Enterprise Network Office, and that was mainly looking for B2B partnership, B2B meetings. Also, European Enterprise Network provides some coaching services, okay? For example, during, this could be related with intellectual property rights, okay? During the recent European Industry Days, we were contacted by several of the representatives that the EU has in third countries like Asia, Latin America, US, for showing us free services given in a free basis that we could offer to our cluster members, to our SMEs. So this is really relevant, okay? Also, they support the market, some market uptake activities. Also, from time to time, they provide access to tools that normally are not free, are really relevant, so they have a cost, okay? And you are able to implement this tool to our cluster members. This happened, for example, with the Improv tool, okay, that we implement in several of our companies. It allows a diagnosis of their innovation degree. Also, allow them to compare with peers or with leaders in their segment through multiple benchmarks, and also allow to design an action plan for increasing competitiveness of their enterprises based on innovation and technology. Of course, for grant preparation, you could get expert feedback also from the EEN officers. And finally, about business mission. So really, we were supported really much for the preparation of the agenda. When I comment preparation of the agenda, it's really to put you in contact with the correct person on the organizations that you want to visit, and the ones that fit better to the profile of your business support organization or your cluster members. Okay, so really this service is really useful for exploring food or food tech hubs that are relevant in Europe or third countries, for inspiration, for the exchange of know-how, or for looking for new collaborators. Okay, and here just some information, okay, about previous business mission where ASINCAR take place. So here, one business mission to Panama, where our general manager jointly with several regional organizations visit several institutions in Panama that are relevant for our activity. And then here, a business mission to Denmark in June 2019, and it's really helpful also to have here on the session. So the two persons that support us for this business mission. So we have Clara in origin from IDEPA, and then we have Susan from Food and Bio Clusterman Denmark in destination. Okay, and really we got really good support for having access to institutes, vocational training schools, clusters, to one of the main technology parks dealing with agri-food, and to different companies. And here you have some immediate results that we got after the mission. So we start the collaboration with a Danish startup, and we submit a fast-track innovation proposal. Okay, here are some pictures about this business mission, and there we have also the opportunity to try insects. Okay, so alternative proteins that are so hot topic nowadays. Okay, so in conclusion, so as you could see in this presentation, we are really happy, and we get value for the cluster through these EEN services. We really think that the key points are this intermediation and follow-up of the regional contact points due to this proximity, this strat, and to have the operation on the same context. And we think that these key factors are still more important for the SMEs because their time for this kind of for participating in this kind of events or for dedication to innovation is much less. Okay, so really these factors we think that are more crucial for the SMEs. As in any organization, so we need continuous improvement. So here just two points. Okay, so we have to continue to clarify, to make it clear what are the value that SMEs get from the e-in services, and also try to group. There are so many services that sometimes you are lost in the forest, I will say. So try to group, okay, and to have like a general term that allows you to see what is below, okay, making having an easy access and more understandable, okay. Easy to say, difficult to make, we know. And we are really happy to see that really the European Union is supporting the follow-up of European Enterprise Network for the next programmation, okay? So thank you very much for the attention and totally open for questions. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto, for this very good presentation, where you highlighted the services that are of need and of help for your SMEs. Of course, being a very tech-oriented cluster, it is more, you said, information about the RDI possibilities, but also the innovation support in terms of the innovation audits that you have mentioned, improve, but also the internationalization. In the matchmaking. I would like to ask you for your questions for Roberto. Are there any questions? Then I would like to ask you a question. Maybe you talk a little bit about your response to the coronavirus very shortly, what you have done last year, and also in this framework, because this is also very important how clusters reacted to the crisis. And your example was very good last year. Yeah, maybe a little short.
Yeah. So yeah, we have several reactions. Okay, so as you could imagine, the immediate reaction. We started to get calls from the companies asking for protection equipment, from hygiene and disinfection products. Okay, so for this immediate reaction, we get in contact with some regional providers of these products. Okay. This was like one approach, but we have also another approach that was a grouping purchase using some. So in that case was the national meat processing industries. Okay, so they get the needs from the different cluster, from the different members. Okay. And they make a grouping purchase. So they got critical mass for gaining force for this purchase. Of course, we as priority field, okay, we keep the services for supporting the food companies, and we not just keep because of the activity we reinforce. So we need to really reinforce our activities, for example, on lab analysis and supporting to SMEs. We develop also one catalog about best practices to deal with all the protection measures that were launched by the national government, national and regional government, of course, dealing with food industries. And I think that the most relevant is that we really collaborate with multiple regional actors for providing response. Okay, so we collaborate with city halls, or for example, for the it was for the disinfection and reusing of masks. Okay, so we got some masks, and we put in place some protocols jointly with the university, with the regional university, for the disinfection and the reusing of these masks. We also work evaluating the disinfection degree of some disinfection reagents produced not by one regional company, but by several regional companies that they built ad hoc, I will say, a producing chain, okay, for this product. So also this collaboration with the different actors, regional actors, and this generation, ad hoc generation of production and validation chains was one of our strengths, okay, for during this coronavirus crisis.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Roberto. If you have questions.
Yeah.
If I may, Roberto, congratulations for your presentation. Are you working on presenting proposals for the National Recovery and Resilience Plans?
So yeah, so I know that I think that all of us has that in mind. Okay, so really I am not dealing that directly. Okay, this is dealing directly from the management board. But yes, we are. So we are speaking. We are working on them. Yeah.
It's very important. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. So before getting to a close, so I think that to make a wrap up, so we have seen that the conclusion I think that we see is the complementarity between the activities that the European Cluster Alliance and the Enterprise Europe Network are doing in terms of clusters, or concerning the clusters. So the European Cluster Alliance is the representative body of the clusters at European level, and it represents the interest of the clusters towards the European Commission, but also towards the national and regional public authorities. So the question that has been just put by Antonio is of a higher importance, because it doesn't concern only one cluster; it concerns us all in the process of making clusters tools in implementation of this national recovery and resilience plan. So us, the European Cluster Alliance, so we are this representative body representing the interests of clusters. On the other hand, Enterprise Europe Network is very much more focused on the enterprises and of the members of our clusters, on the SMEs, in terms of enhancing their innovation potential, as you have seen, their internationalization potential. But also this comes together with the cluster. This must be done in cooperation with the cluster management, because when you internationalize the cluster itself, then of course the SMEs benefit out of it. So I think that if you see it as a coin, these are the two faces of this coin. The Enterprise Europe Network and the European Cluster Alliance in dealing with the clusters. On one side is more the cluster management level, on the other side is the SME level. And I think, as to quote from a classical movie, I think this is the beginning of a very beautiful friendship between the European Cluster Alliance and the Enterprise Europe Network, which is represented by the thematic group clusters in our network. So thank you for your attention, for hearing us today in this beautiful framework. And now I pass to Antonio for the final words.
I cannot agree more to you, Daniel. This is, as Suzanne said also, a second step, but a very important one, and we will see far more activities together, I'm sure, in the near future. So welcome to our morning session, and I'm looking forward for new proposals and new occasions. Suzanne.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day of you. Bye.
Same to you. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye.